The catch initially.
Running down the wing and you pass inside to your 9 where you should be. And ooh, that shouldn't be necessary. Lovely little no-look offload. Rugby.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Hello and welcome to 14th on the log. There is no joy here, only misery and the chance to finish below a team that might only exist for 4 more weekends. And that is just a little taste of the rugby update you'll be getting this week. We might touch on some Premiership rugby, some of the Women's Six Nations, and why not a little bit of Super Rugby Pacific. But first, let's go have a look at the source of my depression. As always, the rugby started on Friday, with Ulster hosting the Stormers in Belfast under the lights. And the visitors started like a house on fire, going 17-0 up after only 8 minutes, and Sasha Feinberg and Gomezulu looking like hot shit. One could even be forgiven for tweeting slightly homoerotic stuff about how in control of his own body Sasha looks. But the good times did not last. There is this thought that if you score too easily and early in a game against a team that you're pretty evenly matched against, it can cause you to switch off mentally. And then before you know it, you are behind on the scoreboard and really struggling to catch up. It kind of feels like this is what happened with the Stormers. They scored very easily and a lot early on, and then they just got so loose they couldn't get their game back together. And also just fought back hard, eventually taking the lead and eventually taking the win, which was probably very cool to see for anyone at the soon to be renamed Kingspan Stadium. Just tighten up, Stormers. Just learn to tighten up. That goof troop thing is not going away. There was another game scheduled at the same time again, and I missed it again. But there wasn't really much to write home about, just the Dragons getting their shit rocked for the umpteenth time this season. This time by Edinburgh in Edinburgh. The only real big news I got from that is that Duan got injured and it might stop him from going on another Lions tour. He's hoping not. Saturday rolled around and again not much to write home about. The Bulls were hosting lowly Zebre and they were putting up NBA numbers. Even though Zebre are only 2 wins off a playoff spot, which is quite insane. 63 points to 24, had me wishing the game would end at 70 minutes though. Happily, the next 3 games weren't all smashed together like last weekend, and the first kickoff was in not Galway, but Castlebar, which looks quaint as fuck. I don't know if they moved it there because of construction or the weather or Taylor, but it did draw a very big crowd for the game against Munster. Munster, who won despite getting a red card for Nankivell after he knocked that other Prendergast out cold. It seems going down to 14 men is the best way to beat Connacht, and they are now languishing on a 5-7 record with a few toughies coming up. Just like the Stormers, the Ospreys went up 17-0 early on in their game. And then just like the Stormers, they conceded 38 points with little resistance and were unable to win a match they really should have won. Since the Ospreys are no longer my most hated enemy, I don't get unbridled joy from this result, just a whatever. Can you guess my most hated team? I will give you some hints. They have a gigantic checkbook. They do love some international stars and they park in disabled spots, allegedly. You got it, the Sharks from Durban, the Jake Paul of rugby teams. Both parties have a whole long list of accomplishments and a positive record thanks to the generous use of cash. Okay, maybe it sounds a bit mean, but Edwell was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I'm going to lash out at the guys in Durban before I look inwards for solutions. It also doesn't help that they've gutted my team and taken all of those guys to lose to a Leinster side filled with AI-generated humans. 7 points to 10 for the Sharks after winning 1 million scrum penalties and completing 1 billion lineouts. I laugh at your loss. It brings me pleasure. Okay, the next game went unwatched because I was still hate tweeting at the Sharks, but Benetton was making pretty hard work of Cardiff in Treviso. From the highlights though, it does look like Albornoz and Carreras will be a very handy 10-15 winger combination thing for Argentina later this year. This past weekend though, Albornoz was Benetton's rescuer with a late penalty to take the lead and the win. They are now 7-7 and into the playoff spots. Oh, fuck me. Okay, on that downer, the URC is down to 4 rounds. And hopefully I'll know joy again because 4 of those matches are in Ellis Park. It does all come to a screeching halt again because the Champions Cup and the Challenge Cup has to have its round of 16 knockout games coming up this weekend, with the Lions probably getting smashed in Edinburgh. It should be a little better because it is all straight knockouts, but don't get too invested. Even the Saracens seems to have thrown in the towel already. These competitions really only feel like it can be won by teams like Leinster, Toulouse and anyone else who's got a gigantic budget. We should really try and fix it. What does not seem to need fixing is Super Rugby Pacific. I lamented last week that it looked like the Crusaders were back on that upward trend towards becoming a dominant force again, but the Moana Pacifica guys did not listen to any of that and they put on a performance that absolutely floored the Crusaders. Their carries were so hard and they refused to go down so much that the Crusaders couldn't live with them and they gave up a record score at Christchurch. That means now that the Reds of Queensland, which is in Australia, not in New Zealand over there, but in Australia, are top of the log after 6 games. That's almost halfway into the season. This has been going so well, I hope it continues, though the Reds do have some tough games coming up. You gotta watch it. In the Premiership in England, last year's runners-up Bath are sitting very pretty at the top with a handy lead. Obviously, they are on a mission to correct some wrongs. And I like it, they're full of South Africans. Last year's champions and very loved team and popular swell guys are all languishing in 8th. Just like the Blues in Super Rugby and the Lions in the URC. We'll see if they can all come up a bit later in the season. And the Women's Six Nations is still very much unwatchable in South Africa, but from the highlights and the vibes on socials, it does still seem like England are the Death Star. France are also still the team that might be the closest challengers, though they will win the Atmosphere Trophy, and the rest are all playing catch-up, still. Especially, apparently, Italy. How about another angry rant at the Sharks disguised as news? I'll read it off this laptop. But first, it is kind of old news now, but Andy Farrell did announce his coaching ticket Wednesday last week, and hair is so back. There's going to be a whole lot more shampoo on the plane this time. And as it is the British and Irish Lions, it's right there in the name, nationalities often come up when these teams and squads are selected. So by my count, we are up to 3 English coaches, 1 Scottish coach, 1 Irish coach, and a Kiwi coach for some flavor. Make of that what you will. I couldn't give a fuck. It just looks like a good bunch of coaches, and the squad will probably still be a whole bunch of Irish lads with some big bruises sprinkled on top, probably mostly from England. You'll be good, don't worry about it. Okay, lastly, the news about Edward van der Merwe. It has already been discussed ad nauseum in my groups because we knew about it last week, and that now makes it 6 players going to the Sharks from the Lions and 1 to the Timu Sharks since the start of URC 1. It really is very hard for me to stay professional and unbiased when talking about the Sharks these days because it just feels like they've gutted us and then wasted all that talent. I think I'm gonna ban any ping pong media in my house, and maybe they should start chumming with battery acid in the ocean. Is that a bit dark? Maybe that's a bit dark. Maybe I should end the video there so that we can all enjoy the challenge and Champions Cup for what it is, just an empty shell of what I'm told it once was. Jesus. Bye. Cheer up.